If there has been one flight that I could talk about that has absolutely scared the living shit out of me, besides the flight of me going to Melbourne where the door blew open because we don't know how to listen to a safety briefing, or when I was in flight school and the engine was rough running at night and I had to land at an airport that literally did not have any lights. This one's the one. Because this one was probably the most chaotic solo flight that I have done as a private pilot. So welcome aboard, everybody. Captain Ethan here. It's a beautiful day to fly airplanes today. And we're going to go over the events that happened that led to me almost busting the Orlando Bravo and what I did to prevent it from happening. I kind of like these style of videos, so hopefully this one does pretty good as well. Hopefully my experiences are learning the easy way for you as private pilots, or you guys just want something entertaining to listen to. Because I got a few of these, and some of them are actually really good. Like the Melbourne one, I mean, that's like a whole accident study, even though there was no accident. This one was probably the most interesting flight ever, and sadly, I do not have it on film, and I'll tell you guys why. So I'm flying another Piper Archer, and it's me and my sister flying. We were gonna go over to Orlando from St. Pete to go visit my mom and my dad. They were at this chiropractic convention, and you know, I just wanted to hang out with them for a little bit. So me and my sister, we decide to go and fly because I hate driving on I-4. I don't know if you guys are familiar with I-4, but I-4 is an interstate that connects like Tampa to Daytona, but usually people know it for going from Tampa to Orlando or Daytona to Orlando. There's a bunch of different combinations. I gotta slow down when I talk too, because holy shit, I talk so fast and then the videos are so short. So we decide to take a flight. We decide not to take 75 Fox, but we take 5 Juliet Yankee, which you guys have seen that tail number a lot on this channel in the IFR time building videos, specifically the Naples one, for example. That was in 5 Juliet Yankee. I actually like that plane, but this one kind of goes deep as well, because this is not just a video of how my iPad overheated. This is also a video of how I almost got a bird strike and brakes that failed on me. So let's learn from Ethan's mistakes. So we take off out of Albert Whitted routinely. We took off runway 7, I think. Yeah, we took off runway 7. Runway 7 is like the primary runway that we use at Albert Whitted for takeoff. It's kind of rare that you get 2.5 anymore. I haven't landed on 2.5 or took off on 2.5 in a hot minute. And 1.8 and 3.6 is just complicated. And it's short as well. It's only like 3,500 feet long. So we take off. We fly southeast bound over to Ruskin, make a left turn over Lakeland, and we come into Orlando Executive Airport. I actually like that airport. I don't know why people hate on it, but it's kind of interesting because we got this taxiway routing because we got off of 7, got on some taxiway to runway 31, I think it is. I think it's runway 31. And I taxi north up to Shelter and parked. We get out there, we meet my mom, and my sister's just like, I want to spend the night. And I'm like, yeah, you can spend the night, because I mean, they're gonna be driving back anyways. So we go to have dinner, get back in the plane, pre-flight, and go. Forgot to mention something. Landing at Orlando Executive, I kind of noticed something weird with the brakes. A little bit weird. I didn't think too much of it because it was like a wide runway and it's a long runway, so I'm never really on center line too much. I'm always going to be displaced a little bit. So when I was adding brakes, I wasn't even adding a lot because I was trying to get off at this taxiway, which would have been good for me, so then I could taxi back and do all that stuff. So I didn't really notice a little discrepancy within the brakes. Flying back to Albert Whitted is when the chaos started to emerge in the flight. So we're on the ground at Orlando Executive. I forgot what day of the year this was, but it was sometime it was like July or August or something like that. Because this was the flight after the Melbourne flight, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. We'll go check the logbook really quickly to see when this flight was. August 17th was that flight to Orlando Executive. It was 2.3 logged, and that's where this picture came from on my Instagram. Anyways, let's close this because you guys don't need to see my background on here, at least yet. So I take off. I get to say I instead of we. Sorry, I'm used to recording the last video. So I take off runway 7 it was, and it was hot that day. Like the plane the plane temperature read over 100 degrees, which is kind of overheating for an iPad. So I try to shield my iPad away from the sun as much as possible. So I do not have a Sentry. I just have the iPad. Or I did not have a Sentry at the time. I have one now. If you guys don't have one, this is probably one of the videos that should convince you to go buy one. Spend the $600 because it'll save your license or your life. Yeah, license or life. So I take off and I'm flying the left downwind departure. I have no clue the Bravo shelves in this airspace, so I am kind of relying on ForeFlight and the sectional chart so I don't accidentally clip the airspace. And then it happened. So my iPad overheated. And let's talk about the Orlando Bravo really quickly. And I'll even pull up on my iPad, I'll even pull up the sectional chart for Orlando. So this is Orlando Executive right here. We take off, or I take off runway 7, and I basically fly something like this. This is a left downwind departure. And if I were to stay on that heading for a while, look what I would have clipped into. The Disney World TFR, which you need permission from Orlando Approach to fly through at any time. Or, like, there's other requirements under there as well. But that's what I basically flew. So I knew that the traffic pattern altitude was 1,000 feet. Which is kind of good to know the traffic pattern altitude of the airport without needing to rely on ForeFlight, because actually that can probably save your ass as well. So I'm only flying at 1,000 feet and my iPad's not working. So I'm flying at 1,000 feet and iPad's not working. I'm like, all right, I got to figure something out because I don't know the shelves of the Bravo, but I know traffic patterns at 1,000, which keeps me clear of the Bravo. So that gives me time to figure out what to do. So my iPad's overheated. I can't use it. So I start thinking outside the box. I don't have a paper sectional on me, which I probably should get one, honestly, but I don't really think I need one, because I don't really feel like buying a new one every 56 days. In 5 Juliet Yankee, there is an avionics system. It's kind of similar to G1000, but it's not. It's called the G3X. And it's basically a screen like a G1000, but it's touchscreen, and it has 2 knobs instead of the usual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Instead of the usual 7, it has just two knobs, touchscreen, and connects to GNS 430. So on the G3X, there is a cool little feature called the charts feature, which my instructor showed me on the checkout flight when I did my checkout for the Archer, but I never really used it because I always used ForeFlight. So in my mind, I'm trying to figure out, okay, I'm at 1,000 feet, my iPad's not working, and I don't know the shelves of the Bravo. I can either do this 2 ways. I can either ask on frequency and sound like an idiot, which I was not going to pick that one, or I can try to figure out how to get the charts either on the G3X or figure out how to cool down my iPad. Well, cooling down the iPad's not going to work until I'm at a higher altitude because the standard lapse rate is 2 degrees Celsius per 1,000 feet. So I would have to climb another 1,000, 2,000 feet in order to be at a temperature where I can open the window of the Archer so we can get some fresh air into the plane so my iPad can cool down. I figured out the charts feature. I just had to turn the knob, and I finally got my sectional chart back, which is good for now. So I don't like relying on the G3X for a chart. I like seeing the map where it'll like show me like the Bravo. Do they have the Bravo ring map? I don't think they do on the G3X. I think that's just G1000. But I don't like really looking at the G3X for a sectional chart. I like the iPad. I get out of the Bravo. I'm still flying westbound, flying straight so I don't clip into the Disney World TFR. And my iPad magically just comes back to life. And I did not have cell service, so I did not have GPS signal. So part of having ForeFlight on your iPad is you kind of want to get the cellular version because that has the GPS module within the iPad. But you still need cellular data to get the initial location for GPS. I don't know why. That's just how it works. In my mind, I'm like, you know what? It's probably a good time to get the Sentry. And mind you, I've already, like, from my other cross-country experiences, I kind of knew it was a good idea to get the Sentry because the Tampa Bravo gets a little chaotic because there's 5 airports within the Bravo. There's Tampa International, VDF, Clearwater Airport, Pye, Whitted, and MacDill. So actually there's 6. Oh, Peter O'Knight. I forgot about that. 7. So we have 7 airports in the Tampa Bravo, which is insane. So it gets pretty packed pretty fast. Part of the Sentry gets GPS, traffic, and carbon monoxide detector. Don't really need the carbon monoxide detector because that's kind of rare. And traffic and GPS are kind of the 2 most important things about having a Sentry. I did not have GPS on my iPad, so I'm kind of like flying in the blind kind of, but I can still use the GPS in the airplane, which is TSO C196 certified. I think that's what it is. I think it's TSO C196. I think that's the WASP GPS, right? I gotta look this up. Negative, wrong one. It's TSO C1. Okay, maybe I do need to study for my instrument written. Okay, TSO C145 and TSO C146 are WASP. Okay, so this airplane does have WASP. It's one of the 2. It actually might be both. Actually, I don't know. Whatever the GNS 430 is, because I know the one in that plane had WASP because I shot LPV approaches with my flight instructor in that. So I'm kind of using that and the G3X. And in that flight, we're over Lakeland I'm over Lakeland at 4,500 feet. And I see a bird. You know, I just could not catch a break today. I just could not catch a break that day. There was a bird at 4,500 feet. I would not expect to see a bird at that altitude. But yeah, one almost hits me at that altitude. And then I hit a huge downdraft and my head hits the ceiling as well. After that, I'm like, oh, dude, what is going on today? Like, that was the most chaotic flight. I wish I had it on film. Surprisingly, all my chaotic flights are never recorded. And that's not even on purpose. That's just like luck of the draw. But I come into Albert Whitted and land. And here comes part 3 of the flight. So I touch down on runway 7. I usually try to get off at Alpha 4, which is the 3rd taxiway after the second taxiway after the displaced threshold. So there's Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha 4, Bravo, runway 25, and then there's no taxiway on the right side of the runway. So I try to get off at Alpha 4. I just like, okay, so tower tells me to get off at Alpha 4. I completely blow past it. I'm like, we're not gonna make Alpha 4. So he's like, all right, turn right, Bravo, taxi Alpha to ramp. So I use aerodynamic braking. I always pulled the yoke back and raised the flaps so the brakes settle down on the ground. I didn't really skid on the runway, but you can tell that there was something wrong with the brakes because I almost went into the grass on the left side of taxiway Bravo. So in every plane I fly, I use both the rudder and the brakes to steer, except the Diamond. You only use the brakes to steer in the Diamond because it's a free caster nose wheel. It's a long story. We can talk about that later. Comment down below if you guys want me to talk about the free caster nose wheel and the Diamond. But I land, try to get off at Alpha 4, miss it. Bravo's the next option. So I am on the brakes and there's one brake pedal that just is not working at all. So I'm kind of using opposite rudder because just one brake pedal's not working. So I'm trying to add more like rudder pressure so then the nose wheel stays straight so I can stay on center line until I have to make the turn because there's traffic on short final. And I did not want the dude to go around. So I cut the turn and my foot is literally like my leg is straight. And I barely miss getting off the edge of the taxiway. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, no damage was done, and no reports needed to be filed. But yeah, that is a big thing. So lessons taken from this flight, there's a few. First off, maybe have a backup to the sectional chart on ForeFlight. Just have a backup. I mean, thankfully I did have a backup using the G3X, but I didn't even have like a moving map on there either, so I had to kind of like figure out a position as well. The second thing is get a Sentry because traffic ADSB weather in as well. That's also a big thing. And GPS. That's also the biggest thing because sometimes I don't like being on my iPad the entire flight. Especially in the Diamond because we kind of get traffic on there anyways. And then kind of like check out the brakes a little bit better. That's kind of the other lesson I learned because I did send the plane to maintenance and they said it was fine, but it did not feel fine. Like my foot was like to the floor. So key takeaways from that flight. Not every flight happens like that, but you kind of do learn. And also I was still a pretty new private pilot as well. So I was kind of like having to stretch my brain out a little more. But once you build more hours as a pilot, you kind of start realizing the things that you do and like start reflecting on them a little bit better. And that's kind of what makes you better at flying. So it's really about it, about my iPad overheating. It wasn't just that, it was just a bunch of chaos at flight. If you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go hit that like and subscribe button down below. If you guys want early access to my videos, make sure you guys go drop a membership. And if you guys want to watch my full-length IRL time building videos, which that series might be coming to an end soon anyways because I'm almost done with the instrument, business class is the way to go because that's how you get them. Anyways, we'll see you guys in the next one, and stay safe out there. You never know what can happen.